It's me, Kelly, with Kelly Tinen and Associates. So this month, we're going to ring in the holidays, talk about training and learning experiences and training development, because good training is hard and training is not always necessary. And so we'll kind of dive into some of that a little bit this month as we round out the end of 2024. And so this week, I wanted to kick off by talking about 3 tips to turn snooze-worthy training into learning experiences. This especially comes into play with required training. So how many of you have had to take some sort of required training, whether it be a safety class, sexual harassment, food safety, you name it. I mean, we've all been there. Problem is sometimes there's pitfalls, especially with required training, because they just check a box, and sometimes they're read and click type stuff, and sometimes they're pretty monotonous, which doesn't create the best learning experience. Learning experiences are important, especially in adult learning, because they want to know that the content that they're learning is going to be directly applicable to the work that they do. So they can take it back immediately and implement something that they've learned. And we've had so many experiences where that's not the case. And so we've kind of created this whole mixing bowl of, oh, well, I have to attend this required training and I'm not going to really get anything out of it, but we're checking a box kind of thing. In terms of some tips that I have, again, these aren't the end all be all, but just 3 things that I've identified that I think are helpful in turning training into learning experiences. And one of those is to understand your audience. Especially when we're talking about required training, required training is often hard to complete because we're trying to fit it within somebody's hectic work schedule. So oftentimes, like a safety training, for instance, comes to mind. You may have people who are on split shifts, who are on night shifts, who are on day shifts, and you're trying to get these individuals in to complete a required training, and that can be really difficult. Also, really understanding what the audience needs and what they might need to get out of the training. And so kind of thinking beyond, like, we're just checking a box, but what is it in terms of this content that they really need, and how am I going to really drive that home? Learning outcomes are also really important. Making the training clear with learning outcomes. I know this from experience because I've attended many trainings where the objectives were not clear. It wasn't clear what we were supposed to be learning. And that just creates this element of frustration, this feeling of your time is being wasted. And so making sure that the learning objectives are very clear for the particular training and it's applicable to the jobs that they're going to be doing. And it's actionable and up-to-date material. So we're not talking about using the fax machine when most offices don't even have a fax machine anymore. I just say fax machine because it's easily identifiable for me, but rotary phone. The other thing to really consider and to really ask ourselves, and this is tough as trainers because we want to do training, we want to facilitate a training, but does it actually need to be a training? How many safety trainings does the same person need to take? Or is there a better way? Rather than doing the same check the box required training every single year, do we as administrators or as oversight in terms of the safety committee or whatever it is that we're trying to meet this requirement, is there a new way to think about that in terms of, is there a different way to capture the knowledge? Is there a different way to distribute the information that we need them to get and to capture that they've learned it? Definitely something to think about there. Not everything needs to be a training, and maybe we need to start rethinking that in terms of some of the required training and things that people need to complete. Definitely think about that. Does it need to be a training? Are my learning outcomes clear? And do I really understand what my audience needs? Next week, we're going to talk about bringing training to life and 3 changes that will breathe life into your near extinct training. So stick with me if you like this topic. Don't forget to subscribe if you like this topic. And you can follow us on the web at kellytinen.com. You can find us on social media, and we look forward to staying engaged with you.